job. Good job. Way to run. Way to run. Good job. We don't always enjoy running, do we, girls?
No.
No, but we understand the importance of it, and we understand that running correctly is important, because if you run correctly, you increase your chances of winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of parallels between life and running, and it's a really great analogy, especially if you're a runner. And that's kind of what I want to explain today in today's devotional. A figure in the Bible that I think really understood this was the Apostle Paul. We're going to look at 3 different passages today, 2 of which have been proven that Paul wrote. The other one in Hebrews, some of the literary styling suggests that he may have written it. I'm not saying that he did, but all 3 of these passages pertain to running and our life as believers. I'm going to read Hebrews 12, 1 and 2 while these 2 catch their breath. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. We're all running a race, aren't we? The passage says that the race is marked out for us. And this is a race that's marked out by God himself. I envision this race as more of a marathon and less than a sprint. We have to prepare ourselves to run a long race. Our race might be shorter than we expect it to be, but we have to prepare ourselves to run for days and years and decades. This race may not end today, so we have to run with perseverance, as the scripture says. We have to stay focused on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. He is the one leading the race. That's the one we follow. If we don't stay focused on him, we'll be distracted or hindered by sin. So we have to fix our eyes on Jesus. So the next passage is 1 Corinthians 9, 24 through 27, and Ellie's going to read that one.
Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games go into a strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize.
Okay. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm running a little differently now than I was before this pandemic started. And this is a good thing. Sometimes moments like these have a tendency to wake us up and to change our focus. As an athlete, a question that I was often asked was, how will you respond to adversity? How will you respond to hard times? Will you back down in defeat? Will you give up? Or will you train harder and enforce more discipline, more training into your life? Not that I feel like I was running aimlessly before the pandemic, but I don't necessarily want to go back to the way that I was running before this started. I want to use this as a positive and continue running, understanding that my crown is before me. That's what I'm striving for. So let's strive to run with purpose in a way that glorifies the Lord. And our last passage is going to be Philippians chapter 3, verses 12 through 14.
I'm not saying that I have this all together, that I have it made, but I will on my way, reaching out for Christ, who has so wondrously reached out for me. Friends, don't get me wrong. By no means do I count myself an expert in all of this, but I've got my eye on the goal, where God is beckoning us onward to Jesus. I'm off and running, and I'm not turning back.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. We're not there yet, are we? We haven't arrived at our goal. And what is our goal as believers? To live in a redeemed place with Jesus for an eternity. So that's what we strain towards. We live with this goal in mind. This is what gives us hope as believers. So we press on and we don't give up. So let's stay focused on the goal. Let's keep running and keep pressing on, and let's keep our eyes on Jesus, the leader. So see you next week.
Bye.